Marcus grew up in a place where hope felt like, well, just a rumor. His street was cracked and patched, littered with broken bottles and lost dreams. Sirens were more common than laughter. The buildings around him seemed tired, worn down by years of struggle. In his neighborhood, success stories were rare. Most people learned to settle for less. But Marcus was different. Even as a kid, he believed he was meant for more. He didn't know exactly what, but he could feel it, like a small flame burning in his chest. Some nights when the world felt heavy and loud, he would close his eyes and whisper promises to himself. "You're not just another name on this block," he would say. "You are meant to run." His mom worked 2 jobs. His little sister needed him to be strong. Marcus saw how hard life could get, but he held on to his belief. He wasn't perfect, but he promised never to let the world make him give up on himself. That promise mattered more than anything. Dreams can feel impossible in places where hope is thin. But Marcus learned early that believing in yourself is the first step to changing everything. The first time Marcus ran, it wasn't for sport, it was for survival. He was racing home from the corner store, dodging shouts and flying basketballs, but there was something about the way his legs moved, the air cutting past his face, that made him feel alive. It felt like freedom. It felt like possibility. One day at school, his gym teacher noticed how quick he was. She handed him a pair of dusty sneakers from the Lost and Found. "Try out for track," she said. Marcus hesitated. He'd never thought of himself as an athlete. But that tiny flame inside him grew a little brighter. When Marcus ran on the track for the first time, he found a kind of peace he never felt anywhere else. The world faded away, and it was just him and the sound of his heartbeat. He was fast, faster than the other kids, faster than anyone expected. Suddenly his speed was more than escape, it was a gift. In those moments Marcus realized that running was his way out. Not just out of danger, but out of doubt. He started to dream bigger, thinking maybe, just maybe, he could run towards something better. Running gave Marcus hope, but it didn't erase the struggle. At home, money was always tight. Sometimes he ran on an empty stomach, his body aching from hunger. His shoes wore thin, soles flapping, but he kept going. There were no fancy tracks or expensive gear, just cracked pavement and his own 2 feet. Some nights, Marcus lay awake, wondering if he was wasting his time. People in the neighborhood doubted him. "Why bother?" they'd say. "Nobody from here makes it." Their words hurt. Doubt crept in, like shadows, at dusk, whispering that maybe he wasn't good enough. Still, he ran. He trained in the morning before school, and again after homework. When his muscles screamed for rest, he pushed a little harder. Marcus knew he was running against more than just the clock. He was running against everything that tried to hold him back. It wasn't easy. Every day was a battle. But Marcus learned that discipline and belief could carry him further than any fancy shoes ever could. The city track meet was Marcus's first real test. He wanted to prove himself, to show everyone that he was more than just a kid from a broken street. The stadium was bigger than anything he'd ever seen. The crowd buzzed with energy and nerves. Marcus lined up at the starting blocks, heart pounding. When the gun sounded, he burst forward, legs flying. For a moment, he was ahead. Then, halfway through, his foot slipped on the worn-out track. He stumbled. Others passed him in a blur. By the finish line, he was last. The loss crushed him. After the race, Marcus hid in the locker room, tears stinging his eyes. He replayed every mistake, every slip, letting the weight of disappointment press on his chest. Doubt screamed louder than ever, telling him to quit. But as he walked home that night, Marcus remembered his promise. He wasn't sure how to keep going, but he knew he couldn't stop. Losing hurt, but giving up would hurt even more. Failure felt like an ending, but Marcus was about to learn it could be the start of something greater. Days after my defeat, I was quieter than usual. I started training alone, just replaying the loss in my mind over and over. That's when Coach Turner, this retired runner from the neighborhood, noticed me. Coach had seen talent before, but, he saw something else in me. Grit. One evening, Coach called me over and said, "You got fire." He paused for a second and added, "But fire needs fuel. You need guidance, not just speed." I listened, honestly surprised that someone actually believed in me. Coach Turner started sharing stories about his own setbacks, times he wanted to quit but just didn't. Coach taught me how to turn pain into power. We worked together on my technique, on building strength, and, on my mindset too. Coach always reminded me that greatness wasn't about where you start, it was about refusing to stop. With every lesson, my confidence grew. For the first time, I realized I wasn't alone. Someone else believed I could be more than my circumstances. And really, that made all the difference. A mentor's belief became the spark I needed to reignite my own. With Coach Turner's help, I transformed my routine. No more skipping warm-ups or cutting corners. I started waking up before sunrise, running laps until my lungs burned. I studied races on old VHS tapes, learning from every move, just soaking it all in. I practiced even when rain soaked the track when my friends were out having fun. I learned that discipline was the bridge between dreams and reality. Every single day I grew stronger, not just in my legs, but in my heart too. I started keeping a journal, tracking my progress. Some days, I wrote about pain, other days, about hope, but every page was proof that I was moving forward. I learned to push through hunger, fatigue, and the ache in my muscles. Day by day, I built a new version of myself, one that wouldn't break under pressure. I realized that success wasn't about talent alone, it was about showing up, again and again, no matter how hard it got. As I improved, the whispers grew louder. Some classmates called me foolish, said I was chasing an impossible dream. Even family members, worried for my future, told me to be realistic. Their words stung, but I learned to listen to a different voice, the one inside myself. I started using doubt as fuel. Every negative word became another lap, another sprint. I understood something important. People who doubt you are often afraid to believe in themselves. Coach Turner taught me to focus on what I could control: my effort, my attitude, my heart. You can't change what they say, Coach would warn, but you can change what you do. I took that lesson to heart. With every step, I proved to myself that determination beats doubt. Slowly, my confidence became unbreakable. I realized that true strength comes from believing in yourself when no one else will. My hard work started paying off. I won local meets, then bigger ones. Each victory was a step closer to my dream. But the path wasn't smooth. I faced injuries, setbacks, and tough competition. Still, I refused to give up. Finally, I qualified for the National Youth Championships. It was more than just a race. It was a chance to show everyone, especially myself, how far I'd come. The stakes were higher, the pressure heavier, but I felt ready. The national meet was overwhelming. The track was perfect. The stands packed. The best runners from every city were there. I felt the nerves, but I reminded myself of my journey. I wasn't just running for myself. I was running for everyone who ever felt left behind. This was my moment. Win or lose, I promised to leave everything on the track. The day of the race arrived. I laced up my best sneakers, heart pounding. I remembered the cracked streets, the hunger, the doubt. I remembered every lesson from Coach Turner. The starting gun echoed, and I exploded from the blocks. I stayed calm, saving energy in the first half. At the final bend, the leader was just ahead. I pushed harder, feet flying, vision narrowing to the finish line. Every struggle, every setback became my fuel as I surged forward. I crossed the line first. For a moment the world stood still. Tears filled my eyes as I realized what I'd done. Not just winning, but proving that discipline and heart mattered more than anything else. After my victory, I returned to my neighborhood. I started coaching younger kids, sharing my story and training them on the same broken streets. I wanted them to know that dreams are possible, no matter where you begin. The real gold wasn't the medal around my neck. It was the hope I put in others and the lesson I left behind. True victory is about perseverance, believing in yourself, and lifting others up. Never stop running toward your dreams, no matter what anyone says.